The story behind Michael Jackson buying the Beatles catalog and angering friend Paul McCartney. The story has been part of popular music circles for decades. Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, two of the biggest names in music history, were on a music video shoot and McCartney told Jackson about the idea to buy up song catalogs. It was a good investment opportunity, McCartney told the King of Pop, but then Jackson bought up the Beatles catalog and McCartney was pissed. But is this all true? Is this how it went down? It began with the duo's collaboration on the 1983 song Say Say Say, featured on McCartney's album Pipes of Peace. The two had earlier collaborated on the song The Girl Is Mine, which was the lead single from Jackson's seminal 1982 record Thriller. That's when McCartney talked to Jackson about investing in music publishing, and Jackson allegedly jokingly replied, "One day I'll own your songs." Then just 2 years later, on August 14th, 1985, Jackson purchased the publishing rights to the majority of the Beatles catalog, some 251 songs, for $47 million, outbidding McCartney. With the Beatles, the publishing had originally gone to McCartney and John Lennon, who wrote the majority of the tracks. The two had formed a publishing company, Northern Songs Limited, in 1964 to generate revenues from their growing catalog. So, for every time I Want to Hold Your Hand was used in a movie, the company got paid. But in 1969, the British outfit Associated Television was involved in a messy takeover of Northern Songs, which led McCartney and Lennon to sell off their shares of the company they'd started. Very early on, we got managed into a little situation, McCartney said in an interview in 1989. It meant that whatever the lion's share of the songs we did were taken by someone else. In 1985, however, those songs went back up for sale and McCartney was set to purchase them, but Jackson snuck in and wielded his financial power and got the lot. McCartney felt betrayed and angered. He no longer owned his songs and had previously started buying other music, like tracks written by Buddy Holly. The two had forged a friendship in the 1970s, but that stopped after Jackson bought the songs. He won't even answer my letters, so we haven't talked and we don't have that great a relationship, McCartney explained in 2001. The trouble is, I wrote those songs for nothing, and buying them back at these phenomenal sums, I just can't do it. Jackson's response to McCartney's request was, "Oh, Paul, that's just business." "I think it's dodgy to do something like that," McCartney once said of Jackson's purchase. "To be someone's friend and then buy the rug they're standing on." "Paul and I both learned the hard way about business," Jackson wrote in his 1988 autobiography Moonwalk, "and the importance of publishing and royalties and the dignity of songwriting." A decade after the initial deal, Jackson sold 50% of ATV to Sony for $95 million, creating the music publishing company Sony and ATV. After Jackson's death at 50 years old, Sony Music took full control of the catalog 7 years later, with Sony ATV agreeing to pay $750 million to the late performer's estate in order to buy out the remaining 50% stake in the company. The Beatles catalog alone has now been estimated to be worth in excess of $1 billion. Prior to Jackson's death, McCartney had expressed anger that the Beatles songs were used commercially. "It kind of spoils it. Just takes the edge off it. Our songs are tending to get a little commercialized now, which I'm not too wild on," the former Mop Top said. Check the link in the description for more, and as always, like and subscribe for everything American Songwriter.